All right. We are live. This is a special show today. I'm really, really excited. I got my good friends, Ruheene from HeyLevi and Justin Day from Swamp System. And these guys are going to be soon your friends as well. Welcome to the show, guys. How is
Great.
everyone doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, excited
Are,
to be here.
Yeah, and like we work in multiple different capacities together. We use each other's services within our businesses, and so much is going on between the three of us. Like the services that Ruheen is working on. She's founder of Hey Levi. What a great service. Justin, running his marketing agency and automation expert and then we on the people side. So there's so much synergies over here, all
Mhm.
focused around. Big portion of it is artificial intelligence, right? That's the buzzword. But I kind of want to dissect today's call, and I kind of want to talk about the implications of AI on the future of work that's happening inside the software as a service businesses or digital marketing agencies. But before we get into, so this is going to be very interesting. I got some awesome questions prepared for the two of you because you guys are the subject matter experts that I know over here. And but before we go into that, I want to start with you, Ruheen, and give us a little intro. Who is Ruheen? Where did you start it out from, and how did you end up founding Hey Levi?
Yeah, so I've been in the marketing world for about 14 years now. I started out working in the film world, and then while I was in the film post-production world, working on some pretty cool Marvel movies, I started getting loaned out to this advertising agency in San Francisco. So that was really my introduction to the advertising marketing world. And got into product marketing or the concept of product marketing pretty early on because my introduction to advertising was on launches for the Apple iPhone 5. That was the first one that I was ever a part of.
Wow.
Worked with some cool companies like Motorola, Radio Shack when it was still around, Amazon products, and so it's been a fun ride. But I did a lot of that in parallel with my post production in the film world as well. From there, I started doing more of like digital consulting, digital marketing consulting. I came into the high level world specifically because I was hired by a high level agency. And so I started, having to learn the software really quickly, but it just tied in with everything else I was doing at the agency. I was a Facebook ads coach. I was a ad account manager. And I was the tech coach in that group, teaching high level, even though it was really new to me at the time. So that was a fun ride. But really, through this entire journey, my biggest passion and something that I've had a lot of fun with over the years is simplifying tech stuff. Right. So I'm always like tinkering. I love to build little tools and templates and automations and things like that. Which is why High Level was such a great opportunity, and it's been such a fun journey with High Level since 2020 now as well. And so Hey Levi was just one of those projects where I was trying to simplify the idea of understanding your positioning, your messaging, how that feeds into your copywriting strategy. It was definitely a need in the high level community where a lot of agencies were trying to figure out how to position themselves when they were all selling the same software. And then, of course, when OpenAI came out with their Open API in 2022, that was something I jumped on. Had collaborated with my husband, who's a full-time software developer at Amazon. So this became his nights and weekends project, where we built this quick app to, kind of bring that positioning and messaging strategy and copywriting strategy to life.
That's awesome. So what's in a nutshell, what does Hey Levi do?
Hey Levi is a completely prompt-free AI tool that helps you dial in your market position. So it helps you identify what is your market position through identifying your buyer personas, or AKA customer avatars, so really understanding your audience, segmenting your audience, delivering your positioning and messaging in a way that really ties in with the expectations and the emotions of your target buyer. And so it uses AI to do all of this for you without you actually having to prompt it.
Yeah, I had the opportunity of hanging out with Ruheene and hearing you up on stage. You were at the advanced mastermind with High Level, and the story, just like what you just explained right now, like everything seems to be, that 20-year-old journey. Like, Kevin Hart, I think, says that, my overnight success is a 11-year overnight success, because people don't see everything that goes on behind the scenes, like, that so important part that you're working on the content side and identifying these segments. But you had this experience working in Hollywood, launching brands like Apple iPhone, the early ones, and all of that cool stuff, and everything's culminated into Hey Levi. So that's the experience you get. And we have our friend, so amazing, big fan of Ruheene and Hey Levi. Let's put up some website links so people can check out Hey Levi. And we have a co-friend with us, Justin Day, who's also a customer of Hey Levi. Justin, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
How are you, man? Do you mind just walking us through a similar story? What's your inception story? How did Swarm System come into being?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have as an exciting of a background working on Marvel and Apple phone. Like I can't top that. That's amazing. That's so freaking cool. Glad to even be on the same call as you. I'm gonna like use that as a brand authority thing on my end. So that's so cool. But yeah, I mean, I've been in this space for about 10 years now. I started out working for my mom's agency, where I came in and learned everything from project management. I started there and from an agency perspective, and worked my way up to a website developer left, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of interested in that, and I learned how to do that. And then the graphic design was needed, and the videography, and then the copywriting, and then automation. Everything kind of I put myself through the paces over the first 5 years of my career, working with really high level clients like Formula One, George Bush, Bill and Melinda Gates, 7-Eleven, CVS, all these big clients. So I was able to had a lot of pressure on my shoulders for sure, very quickly, but that I was able to kind of mold and the pressure made a diamond. At least that's what I think. And I eventually then became my own agency. And, what I realized over time is starting out as a generalist agency and kind of a la carte doing one, if someone wanted SEO or social, I would do, piece things out. But where I found the most success is what clients were doing all of these things all together, whether that be their Facebook ads, social, SEO, everything all in one place, and having like a CRM like GHL, automate everything, and then have the lead flow come through there. That was the most success. And then joining other masterminds like 7FA and Rudy Moore and others helped me kind of realize and come to a place of understanding that kind of niching down and creating a system was the best and most attractive way to stand out and be different. And also the a la carte stuff can be kind of messy. So what we did is take, what worked really well with our best clients and created our swarm system. So our swarm system is swarming your audience from all angles with a cohesive message so that we can close boiling hot leads in a matter of seconds, not days, weeks, or months. So all of that is fed through GHL, with the vehicle being Facebook ads, and the end result being boiling hot leads for companies of small to medium, even large size. So we've had a lot of success over the last few years, being featured in Apple News, at USA Today, Dallas Morning News. We have our best-selling book, and also are launching we've got three co-author books that are bestsellers with Les Brown, Kevin Harrington, and Rudy Moore that are launching this year. And I don't know if I've said this, and this is a sneak peek, and don't tell anybody, but I did just secure a spot on TEDx that I will be speaking on this year in the next couple of months. So I'm super excited about that. It'll be a big one. So you guys get
Nice,
an
man.
exclusive on that for sure. Yeah.
Congratulations, man. Like,
Thank
what a
you.
great panel I have. I'm kind of feeling a little overwhelmed now. But this is great. And, we have the opportunity of working with both of these guys, for our own services and things like that. So it's incredible to see what's possible. Before, like, like, even though like I'm in the marketing world, but we were kind of like focused on the people side. But like starting to work with Ruheene and Justin, like we realize that these guys are just like on a whole another level of automations right now, right? So, and we're the insider people, like we do good for ourselves, like we do great for our marketing and stuff.
Mhm.
But some of the stuff that these guys are, they're just cutting edge, right? Like there's like things that can save us. Like for example, there's a meeting that we recently saved using a process that Justin developed for us. And this meeting was taking, it was just a 30-minute meeting happening every week, but it had 13 or 14 people on it, right? So that's 7.5 hours now
Mm.
changed into just a half an hour follow-up meeting with one person. Everything is completely automated now, using Fathoms, like automated note takers, going into our GHL, sending out automations. It's just magic, right? And I feel that a lot of agency owners are not fully caught up with this.
Mm.
A lot of people are still thinking that this is just overwhelming. It's just a fad that's going to come and go. I'm here to tell you that like I'm not going to pick up something that's just going to put more stuff on my plate. This is the reason we're talking about this, because like if you still haven't thought about this AI seriously, right now is the time, because you're going to get left behind. You're going to get left behind
Mhm.
really fast. But just look at Ruheen's example, right? Like you jumped on this fairly fast, right, Ruheen? Like since GPT came out and you were able to put this thing up together and have traction with this already. So things are moving quick. So, we got to get with the program. If you're a SaaS business and a
Mm.
marketing agency, let's get with the program. Hopefully this show helps you get with the program. So before any further ado, I'm going to get into my three more question segment. And the first question I'm going to put out to you guys is, what advice would you give to content teams looking to integrate AI into their workflows?
Ruheen, I'll let you take that away. You're the leader in that.
I was gonna say, where do I start?
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I think, and this isn't necessarily only for content, but it really relates so well. I see a lot, based on what you just said, Azhar, where, I know folks are trying to get into AI. They're not really sure where to get into, where to get in, how is it going to actually help them? A lot of folks still think it's a shiny object. There is this fear of either, learn how to prompt or get left behind. And with that, I want to say that AI is just another very powerful, but just another tool
Mm.
that is here to make life simpler, not more complex. And so if you find yourself doing something with AI, which is adding on, which is sucking up your time, basically, which is taking more away from you than it is giving you, I would rethink that and really ask yourself if you're just trying to kind of keep up with the pace of where AI is going, or if you're actually leveraging it in a way that is going to help you with your content. And I always talk about content needing to drive from some sort of strategy. And so I know I mentioned positioning and messaging earlier. I see a lot of folks who aren't really sure what that means. They just think that as long as there's content and they're consistent and they keep posting, that their day will come. And sometimes it does come through a stroke of luck, but most times what you really need is a strategy. You need to understand how are customers viewing you. How do your customers, your market, how do they view your product or service or offer, based on how it's going to fit in with not just their pain points, but their goals, right? Like what is it that they're dealing with in their overall lives? How is your product or service going to make that better? What are their expectations when they come to you looking for an answer? What are they expecting to walk away with? And how is your product going to fit into all of that? And so, trying to, before you come up with a content strategy, really understanding do you understand your positioning? Do you understand how that feeds into your messaging? Messaging is written content, but also what you're saying on your sales calls. How are you talking about your offers? So if you understand that piece where you have a clear understanding of what is your positioning, you understand that is matching how your market is seeing you as well. What is your messaging strategy from that? And then how that leads into your content. And then you make a content strategy and then you try and be consistent from there. Now you have an actual strategy that's going to grow your business versus just make you someone who's toiling away on social media.
That's awesome. I guess that's what you would call a screenplay in the Hollywood terminology, Ruheen, where you gotta have the big picture first, and then you go into the scripting and the details of the project and things like that, which is great.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are missing that, and we recently did that with a few of our projects that we're working on. That you need that mind map, so to speak, right? So in marketing terminology, Ruheen saying that have a mind map so that now once you have those things identified, now you can go in and say that, hey, here's my content team that's sitting over here. I'm going to pull in Hey Levi, and this is what this automation is going to do, and we're going to have to revise all of these things. So that's going to give you a lot more clarity. Otherwise, if you just take a deep dive in, you're bound to get overwhelmed. So I think that's a great idea. So step back, take a big picture, and then start the solving key issues within your business using AI strategically. Love that answer, Justin. How about you?
Yeah, I'd want to second that, and where we pride ourselves in, and where we're kind of really different, or at least think we are, is upon onboarding and everything like that with new clients that we take on. A part of the first steps towards everything and then ongoing is really doing a deep dive in your target audience research, similar to what Ruheen's talking about here, right? If we understand what's keeping them up at night and what visually they look like or what pain points they have, then we can take that understanding and then put that into a visual cue, whether that be on Facebook ads or social, or whether that be the copy. So when people are scrolling, they say like, wait, that looks like me, or that looks like what I'm thinking about, and that
Hmm.
really resonates with me, and that's what then enforces them to continue to click forward or learn more. So if you skip those processes and don't understand your target audience to a very deep detail, then you're really kind of burning money or time, because you're putting the cart before the horse in that. So upon onboarding on our side, what our clients fill out one form. It takes about 5 minutes, and then we generate like a 30-point or 30-page target audience report that then feeds into a 16 personality test, so we can determine what brand tone of voice to use and how to speak to them. That way we then have a cohesive tone of voice and messaging like foundation across the board to start out with, and then you kind of craft your strategy towards that. And then leveraging tools obviously like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, you can definitely leverage those. But there's also a right and a wrong way to talk about it, and I definitely love the tools like with HeyLevi. That's what we've been using, because it puts it, instead of learning how to prompt engineer, that tool actually allows you to really just not necessarily have to be an expert. You just plug and play, and it does it for you, and you get incredible results. So definitely encourage people to do their target audience research and then leverage these tools that are available to you. And also, another thing that we recently launched is aimarketingtools.com, where we vet and go look for amazing tools that actually work and then show you how to use them. So always, similar to what Ruheene was saying, don't always think you have to learn everything. There are tools out there, there are resources, and outsourcing is okay too, to leverage other people to get you
Hmm.
ahead or to get your foundation set. You don't always have to learn it all and be that one person that does it all, because ultimately you're a business owner or an entrepreneur. You got to have your time back, and there's a lot to learn out there, and it can be a shiny object big time.
Yeah. So start with your target audiences. Build your systems around that. I remember getting what Justin's just talking about, his plan within the first day of us onboarding with Justin. So I'm assuming there's some your softwares that you're plugging our information into, and then these softwares are just coming up with, like, this stuff is easier said than done, especially in
Right.
the previous days before AIs. But now, like, like you have instant, the things are moving really, really fast. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about here. So, and as marketing agencies, I think, like, if we don't have our market target audiences down, then what are we working for? So, great way, and I think we are proof here that these type of systems work. So, great answers, guys. Let's move on to question number 2. All right, so this one is a good one. What is a must-have AI tech stack that every marketer should be using today?
That's easy. I mean, we can all say it, right? It's GHL. That's the workhorse that everybody needs, and plugging in all of your tools and having a central location for your lead management, lead flow, CRM. I mean, if you want to go spend 10, 20, 30 grand on HubSpot, go for it. But if you think, I would recommend GoHighLevel. That's future proof. They're uploading new and updating new things on a ongoing basis. ClickFunnels, don't like it. I definitely stick with GHL. That's the number one thing. If you're going to start anywhere, if you don't have a CRM, if you're in Excel, get out of that and get into a GHL. And then next, go install HeyLevi.
All right. So that's pretty straightforward. GHL and HeyLevi. How about you, Ruheene?
I mean, that's all we use as well. In-house, we use GHL and HeyLevi for everything. I mean, some of the smaller tools that also that we use are Canva, which I think everyone's using.
Definitely.
But yeah,
and everyone's bringing in a AI component as well, I've noticed. But it's just to me right now, it just looks like a glorified search field. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, it's hot, right? Every major company's got to be on top of it, and whether that's for a branding or authority aspect, everybody's going to have it, and they have. And really, if you look at some of the tools and take remember about a year ago, a lot of these platforms already had AI implemented. We just think about AI in a different way now. And now they're just making it more front and center and more exciting. I think the Canva event was earlier this week, and they had a whole show that was a little bit cringy, but the stuff that they were coming out with is incredible and like next level. And like definitely graphic design is going to reach a new audience because it's more approachable now, because you can take a thought and now make it into a reality, which is very cool. But I think every major business has got to have it, and like we talked about earlier, right? It's not going anywhere. It's like everybody's going to have it.
I mean, I personally like the search tools that are enhanced with AI. I mean, that's obviously just kind of barely scraping the surface of where it's going to go and how mainstream it's going to become. It's already pretty mainstream when you look at like Amazon reviews, Google searches. I'm sure other search platforms as well. I just use Google, but the idea is when you can have the AI summarize everything, because before we would Google something and then we had to go through the first page, sometimes into the second page to kind of get what we were looking for. But now an AI can summarize that for you right at the top of the page. I personally think it's great. A lot of people think it's gimmicky. I think it's been really helpful for me. I go into Amazon product reviews, and there's a summary of all the reviews telling me exactly what I need to know about the product and whether I even want to go into any of the reviews to read specific ones or not. So those things have saved time for me. But as a business yourself, what you put out there about your product and service matters. More because if you are putting your products and services on a platform that is summarizing it for you, you want to make sure that you're using the right messaging so that their AI knows how to describe your product. And so again, everything just comes down to the way you are positioning yourself in your market.
Yeah. Fantastic. So in terms of tools, pretty straightforward. Do not overcomplicate your tech stack, and don't sign up. Like we just canceled like 4 or 5 different tools that we had. Like we signed up and we forgot about them. So
that's what they want.
Don't be like us, and just focus on the basics and learn from Justin and Ruheene, because these guys are the experts in the AI. All right. So my last question to you guys is, what's the future for us humans post AI, SaaS and SaaS and marketing businesses? So like, how do you guys see like the teams evolve? Because clearly, like we just eliminated a 8-hour, 10-hour meeting with a 30-minute sync using AI. So like, some human beings are scared. Like, what's going to happen to their jobs?
I can actually take this one and jump into it, but I know that there's a saying. I'm trying to remember the exact words of this saying, but it's like AI won't replace humans. Humans that use AI will, something like that.
Yep.
And I think it's very, very true. To me, AI is like the introduction of the internet, right? When the internet came around, it's not like it replaced jobs, but if you don't know how to use the internet, yes, you will be phased out because you're not going to be able to bring much value to the table. So just like it was a no-brainer at that point to know how to leverage the internet, you don't have to know how to build the internet. So you don't have to know how to prompt engineer and build your own prompts, but you need to know how to leverage it. And so same thing with AI. If you can learn how to leverage the right tools in the right way for your business, you're not going to lose your job. or your business.
Great. Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And we talk a lot about this on my podcast, The Unfair Advantage, where we kind of break down the stigmatisms and all that kind of stuff about AI and what's out there. We previously, earlier this week, we looked at some of the search volume that was out there in regards to AI. And most of the search volume is about, will AI take over the world, or should I be scared of AI, which is a good information to know as experts, right? And understanding that people are afraid of it. But I think to Ruheen's point, and what I've been kind of saying myself as well, is that it's an empowering tool. It's not going anywhere. It's not a shiny object per se. It's made to make our lives more simple and potentially create a utopia in the future. I think that there's a lot of power that it can go in a few different directions, not necessarily Skynet where the world is ending, but I think if we take this seriously, and people that do leverage it, like graphic designers, video editors, and copywriters, they can be even to the next level. But if you don't, then you're going to have beginners and other people that can match you at your current skill and get the same result at a lower cost and kind of disrupt the industry, because that's already happening, right? So I think empowering yourself and at least having a high level of knowledge or education on how to leverage, not necessarily being an expert in prompt engineering or every single tool out there, but at least having your thumb on the future, where it's going, what tools work and why, and then just kind of aligning yourself with experts or outsourcing so that you're not necessarily tied to being the people that are left behind. Because mark my words, if you're not using it, or at least having an understanding of it, you will be left behind. And that is unfortunate, but that is the way that it's working. If you just look at where we are now from a year ago, it's amazing. And that's only gonna, I believe, like the stats are, it over every quarter it 4x's, and it by next year it's just gonna be nuts. So
Crazy.
it's time to get in or get left out.
Yeah. I think Ruheen summarized it really well. I wrote it down, like, AI will not replace people. People who use AI will. Right? Simple as that. So, like, if you're in SaaS or if you're in a marketing agency, you gotta get with the program right now, because you're gonna be left behind in the dust. So, people, AI is coming. Let's catch up.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah, it's here. Skynet's here.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move into the 3 more ideas. We're going to riff about a few words that I'm going to throw out there. Let's start out with AI generated content. Yeah. So just like, give me a 30-second spiel on what's the first thoughts that come to your mind on AI generated content? Because I'm going to be devil's advocate over here, because a lot of people, there's like images going around, right? Like they look exactly like a human, but it's not, right? There's people who are not happy about this stuff. So what do you guys like? And you guys are on the other side of the equation. So, you guys are the tip of the spear on this one. So what's your, like, how would you put that person at ease with who's like, hey, AI generated content is all the evil in the world?
It depends on how you're using it. If you're trying to replace your brain with it, yeah, it's not gonna end well for anyone. For you as the content creator, or for anyone who's actually reading your content or consuming your content. Again, if it's used as a tool that's saving you time, and it's driving from your strategy and your understanding of your market and what your position is in that market. And then you're using the AI to just kind of flesh out those ideas. Absolutely, that's definitely the way to go.
Love it. Justin?
Yeah, no, I agree. There's just so many things going on with it that you really just gotta understand where it's going and why, and then I mean, just not ignoring it and having a true understanding of how to use it. Because the people, a lot of times what we're seeing right now is beginners coming into leveraging it and then copying putting one thing into ChatGPT and then copying and paste it and then dumping it into Facebook or like a blog or something like that. One, Google knows about that and it can rip it. And there's essentially watermarks with the keywords that are used over and over, because essentially ChatGPT and these other text models are predictive text models that are reading the internet. And if you don't tell it exactly who, what, way, why, where, when with resources, then it's going to give you an educated guess. And it can be and will be wrong. So I think understanding that, it's not perfect. So going into it with a idea of, I'm just going to ask it one question and then rip that and use that as a piece of content. That's really not the way to go. And that's where HeyLevi comes in, so great, because it puts you through the correct ways to get a great response. But again, you have to prompt engineer and tell it who it is, what output you want. And you want to make sure that you're getting good information. And that's kind of the scary part too, is everybody has access to it now, and the false and misinformation out there that's already was on the web and now being regenerated through ChatGPT and then spit out from, people who think they're experts is a scary thing. So that, I think the next level and what Elon and others are trying to do from a truth AI perspective is verifying content and making sure that it's real, and like having resources to understand really what content is real or not, because there's such a huge disparity at this point. So
yeah, I think that's a great answer. And my 2 cents on this question is that considering that the legalities and all of that stuff is taken care of, like as long as the content generated by AI is helping another human out, who are you to kind of tell me that this is not the right technology to use? Because it just saved me a whole bunch of time to get this article put together and published in front of the right audience, and it's helping these people out. So please don't hold us back. All right.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that. I think that where we leverage AI and where our thinking behind it is to get you to 60-80% of the way there, not to copy and paste like 100% of the way there. It's a tool to collapse your timeline, empower you to skip all the boring stuff that's needed. But having more, leveraging your team or internal yourself as a quality assurance and understanding you as the expert, verifying what AI is putting out is the way to leveraging it. Again, not just full force of using it outright, is getting your time back and then making sure it's quality.
Nice. Actually, I'd like to add something to that too. Excuse me. I read a book. I want to say it was late last year that I read this book that was published by someone. And I could tell that the entire book was written by AI. And it felt like somebody had just robbed me of my time. It was very upsetting to me that I purchased this book and I read it, and it literally just sucked my time, because I could tell it was AI and I could go and get that from ChatGPT myself. I also did I don't want to take any names, but I did something on Coursera. I took a video training thing on Coursera. And again, that entire program was created by ChatGPT. You could just tell. Yeah. So if you're using AI, my one request is do it again from a place of strategy, from your place of understanding who you're speaking with and what value you're providing, versus just trying to get content out there. Because it will hurt you in the long run, but you're also just sucking time away from that person who was expecting to get value out of what you just posted or created. And has now lost time that they're never going to get back, reading something that didn't make a difference in their world.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Don't waste our time, please. Love it. All right. My next question again. So this is a problem that a lot of SaaS businesses, a lot of agencies face, and I kind of want you guys to kind of cover this in terms of the topic of the day, which is AI, and the term is client retention.
Yeah, so we leverage AI in a few different ways for client retention, whether that be automated follow-ups, feedback forms, and stuff like that, to get the feedback on autopilot without having our team to manually do it. It's needed. But more so, what we've started to implement is leveraging AI to take complicated data sets, whether that be from Facebook ads, social, or otherwise, where clients don't necessarily always know about CPLs or CAC or LTV and stuff like that. What we do is we take those numbers, we feed it through a prompt through Zapier or something like that to then break down that information into a story version of the data so that our clients can then understand their ROI of working with us, understand what
Nice.
we've been working on throughout that week, so that it's in a short story form that they're always looking forward to versus boring reports that no one's even reading or understands. So that's how we're leveraging AI and that keeps the retention and keeps them coming back, because the big problem previously, if you're not reporting and they're not understanding, if you're crushing it, a lot of times if they're not understanding it, they can still go away. But if they finally understand that you're crushing it and you're making movement and you're moving the needle for them in a way that makes sense to them, that keeps them around longer.
Excellent. What about you, Ruheene? What do you think about client retention and how we can use AI to help us?
I feel like every one of my answers starts with the same thing, but it's really, if you understand your market, you understand the problem you're solving for them, and you understand how you fit into their world beyond just the pain points and the problem that you're solving, you have the messaging that you need in order to keep them engaged and with them in the long run. So that's how we use it. We use HeyLevi to dial into our market segments and understand who they are, what their inner dialogue is, what their decision-making process is, much more than just a card with pain points and demographics on it. And once we have that understanding, not only does it help us create our marketing and sales messaging, we also use that messaging in our client retention because we know why they signed up with us. So now we can nurture that why.
Start with the why and build from there.
Start and end with the why.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I think that's a very, very good question. Actually, amazing, because I'm a big fan of Robert Greene. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, 48 Laws of Power, and I've been reading his latest book, The Daily Laws, and he starts with like you said, starts with a why, right? Like he starts with you gotta identify your calling. If you want to be really do something amazing in this world, you have to understand what your calling is and identify that. And then he ends that book by contemplating about the ultimate why, which is death, right? Like we tend to ignore that part, but he's like just getting that why and this first why, everything else happens in between. So the whys are everything. So don't take them lightly. All right. My last pain point, I guess, could be you can talk about this in this way again, with the cloud of AI, work-life balance. What do you guys think? Is this overrated or is this still achievable?
It's definitely achievable. I mean, I think ultimately the AI is the vehicle to make that happen, and leveraging automation is ultimately getting your time back. And it can be a shiny object for sure, but it definitely, you can get up to 20, 30, 40 hours a week back from it, because there's a lot of tasks that are just repeatable that you don't need to be doing, that can be automated and put into action so that you can get your time back and have that work-life balance and take the Friday off or have a half day on Friday or whatever. And that's achievable. And I think that's really a great purpose between when we're really talking about automation side, and kind of having the business run on autopilot to a degree, right? Everything's with a grain of salt there, but yeah, it's definitely achievable. I'm working towards that myself. It's harder said than done, but yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Ruheene? What do you think?
I mean, 100%. Yeah. You asked if it's overrated. I mean, it's never going to be overrated as long as we are beings with work and a personal life to balance out. It's healthy and needed for everyone. So working towards that is everyone's ultimate goal, I would think, depending on, obviously everyone has different kinds of family life or personal commitments. But at the end of the day, everyone wants that in some shape or form. And automation is something that everyone talks about. AI is just another form of automation. And understanding that, and again, asking yourself, if you are using AI right now, are you spending more time on it? Or are you spending, is it saving you time, basically? Is it sucking your time, or is it saving you time? If it's sucking you time, you're probably using it as a shiny object syndrome, or shiny object. You're in that whole shiny object squirrel phase. But if it's actually helping you save time without compromising on effectiveness, efficiency, and quality, then I think you're using it the right way.
Yeah. I think to me, I'd like to answer that question as well. To me, the work-life balance question is, and I think you guys might share this with me because you guys are amazing founders as well. And, for me, the work thing is not like, because it's not a burden to me anymore, because like we're founding our companies and stuff like that. To me, what sucks energy is doing the same stuff over and over again,
Mm.
right? Like, for example, when I first started RepStack, I was sitting on my brother's dinner table in Wilmington, Delaware for 12 hours straight, and just first half of the day interviewing people, the second half of the play a day closing deals, and just nonstop, just doing that over and over and again. Like, how long would that's not work? Like, that's not work balance or my life balance. First time in my life, I was so engulfed in that I couldn't even remember to eat. And then like slowly I moved away from that role and things like that, and stepped away from, kept going to stuff that I wanted to do, and I wanted to work on. So if you can use AI to eliminate that stuff, that that
Mm.
one meeting, or those if you're in recruitment and you're having to screen hundreds and hundreds of resumes every week, is that what you want to do for the entirety of your life? I don't think so, right? So figure out a way to automate that thing, step away from that, and now all of a sudden you've cleared up 10 hours even in your work life now, right? So now you're going to be, actually you'll have more time to spend on cool projects that actually are going to make an impact. This stuff is day to day. This is just getting us barely across. We want to focus on more strategic stuff, better projects, new things coming out. You won't that won't happen unless and until we step back from these things. And AI has given us that amazing opportunity. Every single one, inside every single, even if it's a entry level role, you have an opportunity right now to work yourself out of a job, and instead do stuff that you really really want to do, right? So I think that's what's at stake here. You want to do stuff that gives you knots in the stomach, and you don't want to go back to work after a nice long weekend, or you're excited about it. Hey, I get to go and build this stuff out because everything else in my day job I've already automated, or most of it.
Yeah, I love that actually. Yeah, I remember when I had a day job at 9 to 5. Well, it was never 9 to 5, but when I had one of those jobs,
Yeah.
I actually had that pit at the bottom of my stomach every Sunday.
Mm.
And it's funny. I remember talking to a friend of mine about Saturday was always the fun part of the weekend, and then Sunday
Yeah.
you're preparing for Monday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't wish that on anyone. Like, that's the type of people I hang out with, and that's the type of people I want everyone in our audience to hang out with. And Justin and Ruheene are perfect examples of that. But we've been there, right? Like, we've gone through our holidays or our weekend, and we don't want to go back to work, but we have to because of the paycheck. And the people that now we work with, we don't wish upon them that type of feeling. So if you want to avoid that, you know get rid of the stuff that's just dragging you down and sucking the energy out of you. Let AI take care of that stuff. You got bigger fish to fry.
That's right.
I would like to add to that to say it's not just about replacing as much as you can with AI. It's about figuring out the right pieces to replace with AI, and the right pieces to have human manpower on. I
Mhm.
think that's where RepStack comes into. I think it's been amazing for us because we've identified those pieces, and we have a lot of automation. Of course, we're all about AI, but we also work with two wonderful VAs from RepStack who help us with the human element in our business quite a bit.
Human beings are always going to be there. That's but it's just that we got to take care of those human beings, right? Like, we don't
Yeah.
want them to just like burn out after 1 year and just move on to the next one. We want these people to be a part of our work families and grow old with these people, right? That's the ultimate work life balance. um, Guys, I really appreciate this. Great idea, Justin, for putting this out there, to bringing all three of us together. I think we got great things in our future. The
Yeah.
future of marketing agencies and SaaS businesses is bright, thanks to AI, and thanks to founders like Ruheene and Justin. You guys are doing amazing work. It's really a pleasure to know both of you guys.
Thank you, Ezra.
Thanks,
Really,
Yeah.
guys. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too.
like,
Bye.
oh, he just left. Wait.